Welcome to an enlightening journey. This educational content offers challenging insights. Approach with an open mind. The link for the study guide can be found in the description. Subscribe to join the exploration. Let's dive in without wasting time. Improve subtitle: Self-Improvement. How to work on yourself and become better. Chapter 1. Introduction. People are inclined to change once the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing. This pain could be the result of a broken relationship, a close call to a severe health problem, or just an overall feeling of being sick and tired of your current circumstances. A major setback can also force someone to take a look at their life and make an effort to change it. This setback could be the result of a job loss, failing grades at school, or anything of that magnitude. Self-improvement is the process of taking a look at your current way of living and making a conscious effort to change it. The truth is that the majority of people are creatures of habit. Many of us are stuck in our ways and would rather avoid change. It is more comfortable to keep doing things the way we have always done them. And faced with the choice to make a change, many of us would choose to ignore the better option and stick to our old ways. The importance of self-improvement. Self-improvement is a very important topic that has been the topic of many conversations. By improving ourselves, we become better and are able to work toward our fullest potential. Self-improvement could include a change in careers, addressing past traumas, or just improving your overall lifestyle. The average person goes through life just trying to survive. It is easier to just settle for the mediocrity of life than to actually take the steps to improve yourself and better your life circumstances. Self-improvement will enhance your way of living and the overall quality of your life. Importance of self-improvement. The term self-improvement is synonymous with self-growth, self-development, and achieving success, both in your personal and professional life. Self-improvement is about setting goals and striving to reach those goals, as well as working towards a better future. Self-improvement is an important topic. It is work that will last a lifetime. There are countless areas of self-improvement, ranging from learning to manage time better, becoming more self-assured, or learning to take better care of your body. Self-improvement is a very noble work as it aims to make you a better person in the long run, while celebrating the immediate and the current. This is done in many ways, including changes in thinking, behavior, lifestyle, and looking at the emotional or physical effects of these changes. It includes the quest to gain knowledge, experience new things, and change one's perceptions, and this often requires stepping out of one's comfort zone. There are many reasons why people embark on the journey of self-improvement, and most of these are very valid and thought-provoking. Self-improvement can change your life in many positive ways. For starters, it makes you a better person, someone you can be proud of. The effects of this can filter through your friends, family, work, and lifestyle. It may result in better relationships, a sturdy state of mind, and an overall higher quality of life for you and those around you. Becoming a better person often leads to receiving better jobs and better pay, through the effort that is set forth for self-improvement. Bettering oneself also can lead to better health. It may mean learning to manage stress, taking the time to exercise, and learning about nutrition. These things are important in maintaining a healthy lifestyle and can greatly affect the length and quality of one's life. Self-improvement also gives you the option of being able to help others. If you have witnessed positive changes in yourself by working towards self-improvement, then you have much to offer others who are on the same path. Many times your approach can become a newfound inspiration for someone with similar goals. Benefits of working on oneself. The advantages of getting to know oneself and working on oneself are numerous and readily apparent. Once one knows oneself better, one can make more informed decisions and can target goals and objectives that better suit who one really is. Self-improvement can also lead to greater independence and an increased ability to take on and handle more responsibility. Understanding oneself helps in effectively communicating to others and can lead to a more successful interaction with other people. This can result in its own set of benefits in the form of better relationships, social, or romantic. One is less likely to be taken advantage of and more likely to attract the kind of people who are best for them. Understanding oneself can also lead to a positive change in others' attitudes toward the person in question. This can happen consciously or unconsciously and can lead to greater success in many enterprises. Finally, understanding oneself can lead to wisdom and peace of mind that is unobtainable in other ways. The many benefits of self-improvement and understanding are so vast that they are too numerous to fully cover. This is but a brief list of the most common and most readily apparent benefits which are gained by working on oneself. Chapter 2. Setting Goals. Mutoti states, "Goal setting is an imperative exercise for personal development. It is the impetus of action." 1994. There are numerous methods which can be utilized when goal setting, but one of the more common and effective methods is the SelfReflection goal setting technique. This is a comprehensive and constructive approach to goal setting. SelfReflection is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. Specific goals are well-defined and focused. A goal is more likely to be accomplished when it is specific. A specific goal will usually answer the 5 utility questions: who, what, where, when, and why. A goal of improving public speaking skills is very vague, whereas a goal of applying for a management position within Queensland Health is more specific and well-defined. The second criteria, measurable, is also very important for determining the progress of a goal. Ways to ascertain if a goal is measurable are goals with a numerical or specific indicator of progression. An example of measurable goals can be the number of assignments completed by a certain time or increasing the speed of touch typing. Both of these goals have a specific number that can be measured and evaluated. The next criteria is attainable, which refers to setting goals that are actually possible to accomplish. There is no point in setting a goal to cure cancer if you have not yet obtained a medical degree. This would be a long-term goal for the future, but there are a series of smaller goals that could lead to this ultimate goal. This criterion also needs to be relative to the person setting the goal. A goal that is attainable for one person may not be attainable for another person due to differing circumstances. An example of this may be a young student from a low economic background setting a goal to purchase a car at the age of 18, as opposed to a student from a high socioeconomic background. The latter example would undoubtedly be more attainable due to family financial circumstances. Identifying areas for improvement. Once you set your goal, it is time to discover the areas that need improvement. The life wheel is a powerful tool used in goal setting that helps you take a look at the different areas of your life and set goals. The life wheel is a circle with spokes coming out of it. The circle represents your life, and each spoke represents a different area of your life. You rate each area of your life from 1 to 10 by drawing a line to allocate how satisfied you are with that area of your life. The lower the rating, the closer the line is to the center of the circle, and the higher the rating, the closer the line is to the outer circle. This tool helps you visualize which areas of your life are satisfactory and which areas need improvement. For example, if you rate your career a 6.5, it's clear that the career area needs improvement. Career will not be the only area that needs improvement, as in most cases, there will be overlapping into other areas. The majority of the time, the financial status limits the area for improvement. For instance, the reason why the career has been rated so low could be due to financial difficulties, and this applies to all areas of life. Take a piece of paper and jot down the areas of life that need improvement and give a reason as to why there needs to be improvement. This will greatly help in setting goals. Smart goal setting. Setting goals is an efficient way to improve your quality of life. They are your route map to your ideal self. A lifetime is too long to wait for it to just happen. For your long-term goals, you may require short-term objectives. It is these objectives that give you the motivation and drive to make a real difference. This will help to create the right path towards your ultimate vision of success. A commitment to the cause is an essential part of the improvement process. It's an agreement between the client and the coach, or a promise you make to yourself to improve your situation. Failure to agree often results in a lack of commitment and the quest fades away. This has to be avoided at all costs. Set yourself a goal that will take you through a sequence of steps in a particular time frame. This is the foundation of behavior change, something which you can measure and control. This makes it a very real possibility and assists in preventing a return to the old ways. One of the most common failings when setting a goal is having unrealistic expectations. This creates a lack of results and ultimately ends in failure. So it is important to make sure the goal is achievable in your current situation. If it is a long-term goal, try breaking this down into smaller goals that progress to the overall achievement. This maintains the motivation factor as results are seen at each and every step. The more often you achieve success, the greater the self-confidence and belief that you can achieve it. So do not underestimate the significance of even the smallest achievement. A very important point to mention is the necessity of recording your goals. Individuals' performance is always increased when goals are written. This creates a permanent record and a constant reminder of what needs to be achieved. This is often forgotten, and many revert back to the old way with no real reason why. Always remember this is a commitment that can only be broken at a loss to yourself. Prioritizing goals. A common mistake people make when trying to improve upon themselves is not setting the right goals. They may have unrealistic or no time-specific goals. A powerful way to make a goal more attainable is to set a time frame for its completion. Also, you may not have the energy to achieve a particular goal at this time. If this is the case, it will be harder and you will take longer to achieve the goal, if at all. You need to ask yourself whether this goal is a priority at this point in time. If not, then it may be more beneficial to set it aside until you have the energy to pursue it. Goal setting can also take away from living in the present and cause undue stress. An unachieved goal can make you feel like a failure, even if the circumstances have changed, which meant it wasn't realistic. An unhealthy obsession with a particular goal can also have negative effects on your current lifestyle and relationships. Always remember to reassess and stay flexible. On a final note, it is very easy to get caught up in the pursuit of material and status goals in Western culture. Try to focus on goals which improve your inner qualities and character. Chapter 3. Personal Development. Continuous learning and education. Continuous learning and education are not just confined to formal learning. One of the largest sources of learning and educating is done through experiences. Interacting with diverse sets of people and engaging in life experiences are a big educational factor. I learned to first find a job in an office setting and transition into factory work. Doing this opened my eyes to what I truly want out of a career. I learned that I was only motivated to go to school more, so that I would not have to work a laboring job for the rest of my life. While many experiences are good, some can have negative effects. The second half of my associate degree has seen me take a break from school. After gaining full-time employment in an office setting and a rapid promotion, my company downsized and I lost my job. This was a real-world experience as to how life can throw a curveball at you and the steps on how to handle it. I was fully registered in 5 classes and my severance pay package was for 3 months' pay. I took that money, went part-time in that same job, and did not touch it since I was handsomely compensated to do so. This resulted in me finishing my associate's degree faster. Experiences can vary from every individual, however. The ability to learn and surmount off of the negatives to make them into positives is a large developmental factor. Personal development and helping others grow have been very vital roles in my life. It is very important for people to look to improve upon themselves in both their professional and personal lives. It is very important to know that you should always look to improve upon yourself. I have seen a lot of people beginning to stagnate and become comfortable with where they are in life. Relocating to the United States from Trinidad was a huge obstacle in my life. I was only 12 years old, and I was forced to be taken out of my comfort zone. Initially, the goal for my family was to be able to come to America and live the American dream. I wanted to be able to make them proud and allow them to live comfortably. This goal stays in the back of my head since day one and serves as a main motivator in my life. Continuous learning and education. In the fast-paced global economy, in which knowledge is the most valuable commodity a person and a country have, the ability to learn new skills and to do so in a more efficient and lasting manner is an important attribute. There has been a lot of research in the field of expert performance as of late. This body of work highlights the methods and thought processes of people who are experts in their field. From chess masters to memory champions, from successful business people to music virtuosos. One of the central themes in this research is the concept of deliberate practice. Absolutely essential to this type of learning, deliberate practice is a highly structured activity engaged in with a specific goal of improving performance. It can be repeated a lot. Feedback on results is continuously available. It's highly demanding mentally, whether it's purely intellectual, such as problem solving, or heavily practical, such as learning to play a musical instrument, and it is not much fun. This method of learning, which is constant, challenging, and takes place over the course of a lifetime, can be contrasted with the more common repetitive behaviors often exhibited by people performing a task with the aim of getting it over and done with. In the long run, continual learning can easily and realistically make an individual a few % better at their job year after year. Over a lengthy period of time, this can make a huge difference to one's competencies and with it, opportunities in the job market. Enhancing emotional intelligence. People usually make assumptions before knowing the facts, which leads to a lack of understanding. To overcome this, you need to ask questions first and clarify the things you want to know. Don't be afraid to look foolish. It's better than being stuck with the wrong assumption. Another way to raise your emotional intelligence is to take time to analyze yourself and reflect on what you have done today. Think about the positive and negative aspects of your actions and never blame others for what happens in your life. Societies and all organizations require a better workplace, and one way to achieve this is by hiring individuals with emotional intelligence. Therefore, it is necessary for some people to develop and enhance their emotional intelligence as they consider it important. Self-motivation is the most important factor to start with. There are several ways to easily raise your emotional intelligence. The first thing to do is to try to deny negative thoughts about something or someone. It may be easy, but it will have a huge impact. Developing new skills. There are many opportunities to learn, such as formal and informal learning in the workplace, through community work, even daily through collaborating and networking. Learning activities include reading, internet research, asking people questions, reflecting, or observing. It is important to try and link your skills and the learning activity. Then learning is more likely to be effective and satisfying. For example, if you like making things, you might prefer to learn something new by trying to put it together or repair it. If you are good with people, you might prefer to learn something by discussing it with someone and also be able to put the new learning into practice in a people-oriented activity. Practice will include being able to identify opportunities to try and improve your skills. This might be through taking on new responsibilities in a job or through a hobby or interest. Once you know what your preferred learning style is, you understand the conditions that will help you to learn and retain information more effectively. The most widely accepted model of learning styles is called the VARK model, which stands for visual, oral, read/write, and kinesthetic sensory modalities that are used for learning information. VARK is about how people prefer to take in information. For example, learning through visual methods like maps, diagrams, and charts, or oral methods, read/write methods, where learners prefer to read and write, and kinesthetic methods where learning takes place involving games, demonstrations, role play, and hands-on activities. The theory of learning styles is that individuals differ in how they learn. Each person has a different combination of learning styles. The concept of learning styles has been the subject of much research and debate, and there is little scientific evidence to support the idea that matching activities to one's learning style, such as presenting information in visual or auditory format, actually enhances learning. However, it is widely accepted that different people do have different learning preferences, and the key to effective learning is to understand your individual preferences and needs, and to find opportunities to learn that suit your style. The more you understand about learning, the more you can choose the strategies that work best for you. Chapter 4. Self-Reflection. There are various ways to assess our strengths and weaknesses. Some people like to make two lists, one of strengths and one of weaknesses. Others will do this mentally. A more structured approach is sometimes necessary and can be done by taking a personality test or a psychometric test. These are often available free online and can produce some very useful objective data and conclusions about our personality, emotional state, and abilities. It is often a good idea to ask a close friend or relative for an honest assessment with this one, as other people can often see things that we are blind to. This can sometimes be hard to swallow, but it is important to remember that constructive criticism is a positive thing, and hearing what others think of us can often highlight things that we never considered. Assessing strengths and weaknesses. By assessing our strengths and weaknesses, we are able to build a strategy to modify our behavior and beliefs in a way that capitalizes on our strengths and minimizes the impact of our weaknesses. Self-improvement can only be done effectively if we have a true understanding of what is and what isn't working for us. This can often be the most difficult process, as it is often hard to separate our beliefs about our ideal self from our true self and the difference between what we want to be and what we actually are. Self-reflection is a very important part of the development process. It allows us to take an objective look at ourselves and to think about the person that we are and the type of person that we want to become. Self-reflection helps us to gain an understanding of ourselves, who we are, our values, and our goals. It is only when we fully understand ourselves that we can make effective changes to our personality and our life. Self-reflection can be done through various processes, each equally beneficial for people at different stages in the process of change. Assessing strengths and weaknesses. Assessing our strengths and weaknesses is something that is done throughout the work to try and improve these areas. This is because a weakness is seen as something that holds us back. It inhibits our development, our output, and potential. A strength can be seen as something that the individual excels at or in a positive environment surpasses others at. It is important to be aware of our strengths and also those things that need improvement. This will serve several purposes. It will help us direct our focus when trying to improve an aspect of ourselves. It will give us confidence and motivation when we reflect on the progress we have made. Knowing our strengths also helps to buffer negative feedback. It may be more upsetting to someone with no confidence in their artistic abilities to be told that their work is bad. It is important to take an unbiased look at your strengths and weaknesses when thinking about where we would like to be or what goals we would like to achieve in our lifetime. If we are aware of our weaknesses, we can begin to look at them in a different light. An obstacle is really a strength not yet developed. We can use our goals as motivation to turn our weaknesses into strengths. Also, by being aware of our strengths, a person can set goals that make full use of them. Journaling and self-assessment. One simple form of assessment is to list out our skills and personal qualities, and then to identify examples which demonstrate the skill or quality. The next step is to rate the level of performance of that skill or quality, and then to consider ways in which the skill or quality could be improved. Another method is to seek feedback from others by asking them to assess us on the skills and qualities we have assessed. This feedback can be used to produce a positive or negative profile on ourselves to identify patterns of behavior. With this structured process, it is easier to identify where we need to set specific and difficult goals and the specific route the goal will take. It has been shown in Locke's 1976 goal theory that specific and difficult goals lead to better task performance than vague or easy goals. But in order to identify our goals, we need to know our strengths and weaknesses. Journaling and self-assessment is an important step in identifying our skills and areas for improvement. This is a process where we can record events, how we feel about them, and monitor our progress. This could be in the form of diary writing and or recording examples which demonstrate our skills. Seeking feedback from others. An exercise that I have found very helpful when seeking feedback from others is to pick 3 to 5 people that you know very well and that you feel have a good understanding of who you are. These people may include family members, close friends, or colleagues. Ask them to write a list of your 3 best and 3 worst qualities. You may be surprised at what some people write, and it can be a very eye-opening experience. This can be repeated over a period of a few months to track your progress in certain areas. If the feedback that you receive is unsatisfactory, consider asking these people for advice on how you can improve in the areas that they feel are your weakest. Feedback from others is a great way to improve your self-awareness and to work on areas of yourself and your life that could use improvement. It is sometimes hard to evaluate oneself truthfully, and where we have a desire to change, it can be helpful to have an outside perspective to tell us where it is we should start. It is likely that if you are considering making a change in your life, you have already discussed it with a friend or a family member. Simply opening up to the idea of change with those that are close to you will give you a different perspective. After the conversation, you may be surprised at some of the advice that you are given. You may not always agree with the feedback that you receive, but having a better understanding of how you are perceived by others can be very valuable. Remember that the people providing the feedback may not always understand your motivations, and that their advice is a reflection of your behavior and not your character. Try to remain open-minded and avoid being defensive when seeking feedback. The goal is to learn something about yourself that you were not aware of and use that knowledge to make a positive change. Chapter 5. Time Management. Finally, avoiding procrastination involves self-control and self-discipline. You must be able to do what you have to do when you have to do it. One effective way to get into the mood of your next activity is to use a less desirable task as a SIG. This will help change the pace without diverting too far off course, thus setting you up for your next task. An important part of creating a schedule is making contingency plans with alternative activities. This can be a plan B, or another time you can switch the activity to. This will prevent free time, when you don't know what to do, from turning into procrastination. After you have assigned the whole day a specific task, you will reduce the urge to do things that are less important compared to what you should be doing. When creating a schedule, it is important that it is realistic, meaning that you are able and likely to carry out the plan. Overloading yourself at one time will cause a last-minute change in plans, which is likely to mess up the whole day following. By prioritizing tasks and activities, you are able to decide what must be done immediately and what can hold off until a little later. This will decrease the chances of running out of time to do something important. Creating a schedule is a highly effective way of getting things done, as you are assigning specific time slots to activities. This promotes the likelihood of following through with the activity. Time management involves creating a system that gives you ample time to do the things you have to do and want to do. When you have good time management, you are able to spread the work that needs to be done throughout the day, giving yourself more free time. Prioritizing tasks and activities. Always begin with a simple task which will start the flow of your work. If a task appears too difficult, complex, or time-consuming, ask if it's worth doing it. If not, remove it. If it is, reschedule it for a later time. This is the simplest way to prioritize and helps to separate the important from the less important. Fundamentally, we need to order tasks by their true importance. The key to task prioritization is to use a method that works for you. A simple and effective method of prioritization is to first compile a list of tasks and then go through them, assigning each a letter from A to E, with A being the most important and E being the least important. Create a next action to ensure that each of your projects is clearly defined into a single, manageable task. An unclear task can lead to procrastination as it seems too difficult to approach. This will make it easier to schedule them. Set tasks which have deadlines or are high in importance first. Step back from time to time and think whether you are making the best possible use of your time. What tasks could you be doing that are higher in value or higher priority? The value of time changes from task to task, and by prioritizing, you can make sure that you are using your time effectively and not by doing a less important task just to avoid a more important one. By following these simple steps, you can manage your time better by making sure the most important tasks are done first, and that time is not wasted on less important tasks. This will reduce the unnecessary stress often caused by last-minute rushes to meet deadlines, and you will have a greater feeling of control over your work and your life. Creating a schedule or routine. Carrying out these time management methods will be a direct change to the way you handle your time. At first, it may be difficult, but persistence and practice will yield a favorable outcome. Remember, it is important to review your time management on a regular basis, and it does not hurt to make adjustments along the way in order to achieve better results. By making a schedule/routine, you will be able to set yourself goals to work with time effectively, thus freeing time in the future, and by being accustomed to sticking to a schedule, you may find you have spare time in which you can do as you wish. This method is an alternative to working spontaneously throughout the day and will bring a great sense of achievement at the end of the day. The process of scheduling involves the following steps. Step 1. Start by identifying the times during the day when you are at your optimum. For example, when you are most energetic or when your concentration levels are at their highest. It is during this time when you should be looking to undertake your important and more demanding tasks. Step 2. Using a worksheet planner or a diary, enter in fixed activities, for example lectures, work or sleep, and make sure these do not clash with your most energetic times. Step 3. Schedule time to do the not-so-important tasks, for example, a trip to the post office or cleaning. These can be fitted in around the fixed activities, but still during the times when you feel your energy levels are acceptable. Step 4. Schedule time to do the more demanding tasks. Completing these at your optimum times will help increase productivity and help manage your time. Step 5. Review your plan and make sure it is realistic and flexible. A good schedule is not too pressuring and provides free time to rest and relax. Creating a schedule is an effective method for you to use time management. Scheduling involves making a plan to carry out a series of activities. In this instance, making a schedule involves making a plan to carry out your normal day-to-day activities in an effective and efficient manner, where time is set aside to complete given tasks. It does not involve making a plan with what you intend to do with your leisure time. This method has been proven to be a highly effective method for taking control of time, and it can be used in a variety of different situations, from organizing your day, planning your revision timetable, or arranging a schedule for a person with higher time demands, for example, a doctor. Avoiding procrastination. Procrastination is putting off or avoiding doing something that needs to be done. It is the habit of giving in to immediate gratification, and usually involves ignoring unpleasant, but important tasks in favor of more enjoyable tasks. This may lead to feelings of guilt, inadequacy, depression, and self-doubt among many people. Procrastination is a complex psychological behavior that affects everyone to some degree or another. With some, it can be a minor problem, and with others, it is a source of considerable stress and anxiety. Procrastination may come in various forms and disguises and often is hard to identify. At the heart of it is avoiding tasks with the mindset of, "I'll feel more like doing this tomorrow." People delay writing important emails, starting reports or articles, cleaning the clutter from their house, calling parents or friends, and even resolving deeper issues in their lives. Procrastination causes many problems, but it is especially frustrating because it needlessly wastes our time, saps our energy, and keeps us from taking action. We all procrastinate from time to time, but with increasing globalization and the pace at which we live our lives, It is now more crucial than ever to understand ways to overcome the habit. By creating a clear, structured plan and being prepared to modify it, coupled with the use of timeless time management techniques and avoiding the underlying emotional issues, procrastination can be beaten. Chapter 6. Healthy Habits. Lastly, changing diet and exercise habits have the potential to make a person uncomfortable. The best way to make these habits stick is to strive to make them a routine. This will remove the feeling of it being a chore, and eventually, a person will not feel right if they were to miss out on exercise or eating an important meal. In addition, proper hydration is also essential. Stimulating beverages such as coffee do provide energy. However, it is short-lived and is generally followed by a crash in energy. Anything involving high sugar content should be avoided, as sugar also provides quick bursts of energy followed by crashes and fatigue. Incorporating this with the correct nutrition and a balanced diet is the best way of maintaining good mental and physical health. A healthy, balanced diet that includes all the food groups, vitamins, and the right amount of good fats and carbs are essential. Eating the wrong foods and dieting incorrectly can lead to fluctuations in mood and energy, and is very detrimental to any person trying to improve themselves. Many people are deterred by the idea of exercise. An immediate thought when considering exercise is spending countless hours in the gym to see marginal results. In reality, simple forms of exercise can be immediately beneficial. Going for a walk or a bike ride will help provide motivation and the setting of reachable goals. Exercise and staying physically fit is a great way of relieving stress and providing the extra energy needed to get through an already busy day. Keeping healthy is an important part of self-improvement. To effectively improve oneself, a person must first create a solid foundation where they are fully energized and motivated to tackle the other necessary changes. These healthy habits are a great way to start. Exercise and physical fitness. Exercise is a vital part of life and a vital part of self-improvement. The benefits it brings with it are endless, including improvement on your physique, mood, general well-being, decrease in stress, and increase in self-esteem. Doing 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days and incorporating strength exercises into your routine twice a week is said to be a very effective way of improving one's health. However, this requires motivation and knowledge of what to do. Many people lack in this area and feel it is more of a chore to exercise than anything else. One of the best ways to improve this is to find something you enjoy, rather than making yourself do it. This could be walking, riding a bike, or pursuing a sport you enjoy. You're more likely to stay interested in something that you find fun. Getting a friend involved can also be motivational, providing competition and making activity more enjoyable. Setting goals and planning is also effective. For example, deciding to take part in regular physical activity such as a team sport, push bike riding, or joining a gym, and then planning around when you can fit it into your routine. Maintaining these kinds of lifestyle changes can be difficult. Setting a long-term goal such as entering an event or fun run can regularly focus and motivate you. Avoiding thoughts that physical activity is an inconvenience and reminding yourself how good you will feel after is a good way of reinforcing your behavior. New behaviors can take time, so slipping up once or twice does not mean failure. Building good habits is a process, so remain patient and motivated and stick at it. Remember, in some cases, it may be necessary to consult a health professional before taking on a new level of physical activity. Proper nutrition and hydration. Proper hydration is often an overlooked factor in personal health. More than half of the human body is made of water, and it is required to keep the body functioning. Drinking water is the best way to stay hydrated. An easy way to tell if you're properly hydrated is by the color of your urine. If your urine is consistently a light color, you are properly hydrated. If it's consistently a darker color, you are dehydrated. Energy drinks and vitamin water should be consumed in moderation, as they often contain a lot of sugar. Juice should also be consumed in moderation, as it contains a lot of sugar and calories and does not fill you up as much as solid food. A good way to stay properly hydrated and avoid unhealthy drinks is to buy a water filter and keep a water bottle with you at all times. Eating habits are very important when it comes to personal improvement. People who are going through positive mental and physical change are often dismayed by all the junk food and fast food of the world. It may seem that healthy meals are less convenient or more costly, but in reality, there are many healthy options that are easy to prepare and can be carried with you. I suggest that my readers eat a balance of fruits, vegetables, complex carbohydrates, and lean protein. An example of a healthy and easily prepared meal would be vegetable stir-fry with brown rice. A healthy diet will give you more energy throughout the day and fuel your workouts. Getting enough sleep. Sleep is one of the most fundamental and crucial aspects of self-maintenance. Regularly sleeping more than needed can impair your ability to function for days or even weeks at a time. The most telling sign of sleep deprivation, aside from yawning and changes in mood, is the inability to stay awake during monotonous activities, low attention spans, and going through micro-sleeps. And you may not even be aware of it. Although it is self-evident that tiredness will affect performance, most of us do not realize that judgment, reaction times, and general management of tasks are all impaired by not getting enough sleep. The risks of this are severe. Summarized risks from sleep deprivation and WHA are as follows: impaired memory and reduced cognitive ability, decreased ability to carry out mathematical equations, depression, decreased immune system function, increased risk of infection, cardiac morbidity, increased risk of accidents, injury, and death. Chapter 7. Mindfulness and Meditation. By learning to regain lost contact with the breath, it is possible to learn much about the habits of mind that keep us from being fully present. This kind of mindfulness meditation is a disciplined practice that leads to a state of full attention to the breath, in and out. It has a regular and systematic process and is best practiced for about 30 to 45 minutes a day. Mindfulness meditation is a powerful form of meditation practice that involves the cultivation of awareness for the mind and body and the connection to the world. It involves paying attention on purpose by being fully present and focusing on the breath as a centering object. The breath is used as an anchor because it is always available to attend to, and it connects the mind and body. It is also subtle and rapidly changes according to mental state. There is no single fixed way to practice mindfulness, but the great way to establish a foundation is by mindfulness meditation. If you are seeking mindfulness resources, there are many options available, but the best way to learn and practice is to take a mindfulness training program with a qualified professional. This practice combines the effects of developing a daily meditation habit, attending a weekly class, and practicing mindfulness informally during the activities of daily living. Rewriting the above results adhere to the contents only, mindfulness and meditation, that yield 1805 characters. Practicing mindfulness in daily life. Mindfulness is not only to be practiced at the time of being seated in a quiet place. The real mindfulness comes when it is practiced in daily life when you are faced with various distractions and challenges. It is possible to bring mindfulness into all aspects of daily life. This can be done no matter what one is doing, even while doing a simple task. Speaking, eating, working, or house chores can all be done mindfully, and with practice, this becomes more natural and rewarding. The key is in developing awareness, and this is an aspect of cultivating mindfulness. It may be difficult to remind oneself to be mindful in the beginning, and a good way to constantly bring the attention back to the present moment is to remember to keep balance of the mind. For example, while sweeping the floor, one may notice the mind to be thinking of other things. Thus, the act of sweeping does not become meditative. At this point, it could be realized that the mind is unbalanced, and immediately, the sweeping can be used as an anchor to remind oneself to come back to the present moment and to do the task with full awareness. While using it as an anchor, The sensation of the hand holding the broom can be felt, and the posture can be observed. This would be considered mindfulness at the time when the awareness is on the present moment. Benefits of meditation for self-improvement. Workers who meditate will be able to perform under pressure, and fathers can make more thoughtful and wise parenting decisions. We can mitigate the effects of aging on the brain, or at the least, understand what activities we are still able to do, and what may require more effort. Arichi, K. 2007. This is important to everyone in everyday life, and the older we get, it becomes more and more beneficial. Scheduled meditation practices can help adults and seniors maintain their mental acuity and offset the cognitive decline associated with aging. With the abundance of scientific evidence regarding the ability of meditation to preserve and possibly enrich brain function, meditation is an essential mental exercise to help each individual. Meditation practices are becoming more and more popular for their many benefits in self-improvement and in general well-being. To understand how meditation can improve one's mental state, we look deeper into the practice and find out that there are many ways to use meditation to increase mental cognition, and also it helps to reduce the aging of the brain, which is very important in the fast society today. Research has shown that meditation can enrich and even increase certain brain functions, which are still developing in adults over the age of 25. During this age, the brain's frontal lobes and the anterior cingulate cortex are maturing. These parts of the brain are associated with delayed gratification, planning, prioritizing, and organizing. Techniques for cultivating mindfulness. Some people prefer to jump directly to meditation or to mindfulness exercises. There are many ways to cultivate mindfulness. Try a few of the following and see which work best for you. 1. Practice meditation. Meditation is the most common and time-tested way to cultivate mindfulness. Here is a basic meditation for you to try. Set aside some time and find a quiet space. Sit in an upright posture in a chair or cross-legged on the floor. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to the sensory experiences: touch, taste, smell, sight, and sound. Spend a moment on each sense, noticing whatever is present in that sense. For instance, if focusing on touch, you may notice the sensation of your hands resting in your lap or the feeling of the chair beneath you. Then shift your attention to the breath, noticing how it moves in the body, or even counting the breaths up to 10 and then starting again. 2. Paying attention to routine activities. You can cultivate mindfulness by choosing to pay attention to routine activities that you would normally do on an autopilot basis. These include activities such as washing dishes, taking a shower, eating, and walking. Simply take notice of the sensations, feeling, and thoughts that arise during these activities, and you may find that a mundane activity can turn into a rich and fulfilling experience. 3. Following your breath. This is a popular exercise for beginning meditation. Simply bring your full attention to the rhythmic in and out sensation of the breath. Notice the feeling the breath makes as it moves in and out of the body, noticing the rise and fall of the chest and belly. When the mind wanders, gently escort it back to the breath. 4. Mindfulness in nature. Take a walk in nature and allow yourself to become fully present with each step. Take notice of the sights, sounds, and smells of the environment. This can be a very grounding and healing practice. Chapter 8. Building relationships. Building relationships is one of the most enjoyable yet difficult aspects of personal development. Developing strong, long-lasting relationships can be difficult, but the benefits are well worth the effort. Relationships provide support, friendship, love, and guidance. The first step to building quality relationships is understanding that it takes time and effort. A quality relationship is one in which both parties are committed to. If it is one-sided, it is probably not a very healthy relationship. People are sociable beings, and it is important for us to spend time with other people. When trying to better ourselves, we must surround ourselves with positive people who will support our quest for self-improvement. Positive and negative can be determined by evaluating whether a person encourages personal growth or gets you involved in problem behavior. A good relationship will help you get through the tough times and be there to share the good times. It is important to consider your behavior and actions toward others. The saying, "If you want friends, you must show yourself friendly," is certainly true. Actions and words can leave lasting effects on people, both positive and negative, so it is important to be mindful of what kind of influence you are having on those around you. Once you have an idea of the type of relationships you want to develop, it is important to look at the quality of your interaction with other people. To create deeper and more meaningful relationships, it is important to develop better communication skills. Talk to people in a clear and considerate manner instead of just making small talk. Be more engaging by showing interest in the other person. Ask them questions about their opinions and experiences and remember what they tell you. A great way to display interest in what a person is saying is to ask more questions about it instead of changing the subject back to you. We have all been in conversations where the other person is constantly talking about themselves and not showing an interest in what you are saying. It can be very off-putting and doesn't help in developing a quality relationship. An important part of communicating effectively is using tact, which is telling the truth in a way that considers other people's feelings. It is important to be honest with people, but being too blunt can often lead to hurt feelings and damage a relationship. Always strive to look for a resolution of issues when in conflict with people, whether it is a compromise or just agreeing to disagree. Listening to the other person's concerns is important and shows that you value the relationship. Effective communication skills. You can improve your communication skills by learning to understand the other person's perspective. Take the time to talk to the other person, not necessarily to come up with a solution to the problem, but to listen to how they're feeling. Simply allowing the other person to talk so that they can get their own feelings out is a big step towards better communication. When you do speak, try to not come across as though you are blaming the other person, as this will only cause them to react in a defensive manner. Use I statements to express your own feelings on the subject, while at the same time being respectful of the other person's feelings. Another important part of communication is nonverbal communication. Be aware of your tone of voice and the other sounds that you are making. An often forgotten aspect of communication is the state of your thoughts at the time of communication. We've all had conversations where we're irritable or not in the mood to talk, and it can become very obvious. At times like these, it's often best to simply acknowledge that you're not in the right state of mind to communicate effectively at the time and to revisit the conversation at a later time. Active listening and empathy. Listening is the highest compliment one can pay to another person. The power of listening is often underestimated. The act of listening involves giving the other person time to think, time to speak their mind, and time to open their heart. Active listening goes one step further. It involves being completely present with the other person. It means not thinking about what you are going to say in response to the other person, but instead fully concentrating on what they are saying. Often, when we are engaged in a conversation, we are only half listening because we are formulating our own response in our minds. We are evaluating what the person is saying in relation to our own experience, or we are just bored and wishing that the other person would stop talking. Learning to be an active listener can make a huge difference in the quality of our relationships and can give comfort and solace to those we care about. In the fast pace of modern society, people often feel that nobody has time for them. We live in a world of partial attention where it has become acceptable to talk to someone while watching TV, doing work, or being preoccupied with other concerns. When we give someone our undivided attention, it is a precious gift that most people do not experience often enough. Active listening goes hand in hand with empathy. To understand another person's experience, we must first understand the story. By showing someone that we are making an effort to understand, we are validating their experience and their feelings. Empathy is the ability to understand the experience and feelings of another person. It involves putting ourselves in the other person's shoes and viewing the world from their perspective. Empathy is a powerful way to communicate that we understand the other person. It is not saying, "I know how you feel," when we have not had a similar experience. Often when we try to comfort someone, we relate their experience to something that has happened to us, and then talk about that. Although it is sometimes helpful to share similar experiences, the danger is that the focus then becomes our own experience rather than the experience of the person who is sharing with us. An empathetic statement might be, "That must be really difficult for you," or "I can see that you are really hurting." When we experience empathy from another person, it is very comforting because we feel understood. Being understood is a universal desire and is important in building trust and rapport with another person. Networking and building a support system. Although not everyone likes the idea of networking, it is a vital part of career development, personal growth, and self-improvement. Make a list of all the groups that you are or could be involved with, such as community, professional, industry, student, school, social, or recreational. Are you happy with your involvement in these groups? Check your network. How often do you communicate with your contacts? Initiating contact like a phone call can lead to a face-to-face meeting, which can then strengthen the relationship. Email is an easy and useful way to communicate with friends overseas or send people information. Remember, they say, "It's not what you know, but who you know," although really, it is what you know and who you know. By networking, you are contributing to the people you know and what you know. Networking then leads to resources, knowledge, a shoulder to lean on, and perhaps the most important of all, a mutual support system. A support system is an extremely valuable and powerful resource. Often the mere exchange of information or experiences can help you feel encouraged, heard, and steered in the right direction. Beyond that, providing support or being supported can lead to mentoring or tutoring relationships, which are beneficial for both parties and can even lead to strong friendships. A marked and meaningful change in your faculty or personal life can be facilitated by a strong support system, and it therefore provides a great incentive in working on yourself and improving. An invaluable and timeless piece of advice is asking those with more experience or who have achieved what you want to achieve on how to get there. This advice can help you learn from your successes and especially your mistakes. This way, you can work on your weaknesses and plan the most practical and efficient pathway to your desired outcome. By having clearly defined goals and a heightened awareness of how you are going to reach them, you can maintain and increase motivation and reap the satisfaction of achievement. Networking often facilitates the identification of strengths and weaknesses by comparing yourself to others, whether it is deliberate or subconscious. This continual self-evaluation is important for personal growth and development. Chapter 9. Overcoming Obstacles. Let's say we have worked on identifying our core values, addressed where our life is compared to where it should be, and set some goals to work towards. At some point in this journey, it's likely we will encounter resistance or problems. Some of these problems will seem to block any planned route to our goals, and at this point, often the effort in a prolonged attempt to surmount this impediment can bring an end to our goal or result in a negative accomplishment. Often, this type of failure is, in fact, the result of self-handicapping or giving ourselves an out, usually based on a limiting belief about the nature of abilities or the nature of the task in relation to our ability. For example, "I'm not up to this," "This is going to be too hard," or "This is not really what I want to do." In recognizing the self-handicapping behavior or the nature of the limiting belief, it is possible then to direct efforts at changing the belief or preventing an undermining action. This may not be a simple process and may require work with a cognitive behavioral therapist, but the change of even a long-held limiting belief can result in a change of direction of one's life. Many obstacles are not related to a specific goal and more a general impediment to the quality of life. In these cases, it may be helpful to use goal setting in conjunction with the WOP method to address the problem at an ideal opportunity. All this being said, having effectively identified obstacles and weighed up the probability of success in an action to overcome the obstacle. It is sometimes a very tough call, which is not necessarily best decided with the attitude of where there's a will, there's a way. If the cost looks to be too high, or if the probability of success is too low, it may be wise to cut one's losses and set a different goal. Wallow, a self-pity related behavior over a perceived failure, is generally counterproductive. Identifying and addressing limiting beliefs. An important point to mention here is that after evaluating a belief and deciding to change it, it is important to reinforce the new belief in order to ensure that the old one does not return. This is because it has been part of an automatic pattern of thinking and will therefore be the default belief unless it is completely replaced. Cognitive behavioral techniques are an effective tool when working on identifying and changing negative beliefs. This involves teaching people how to evaluate whether their beliefs are accurate or not, and if they are not, to adopt new beliefs which are more in line with reality. An example of a simple technique is the ABC model, where A is the activation event, B is the belief, and C is the consequences. This model can be used to help identify how negative beliefs affect mood and behavior. The science behind the model and practical guides can be found on the internet or in self-help books. Limiting beliefs stop you from achieving your goals. They lead to self-sabotage and procrastination. As mentioned in the previous section, you will be surprised at how often you think negatively about yourself and your life. Think how likely you would be to achieve your goals if you constantly thought in a negative way and always believed that you were incapable of achieving them. Unfortunately, these beliefs are often deeply hidden in the subconscious mind, and it takes effort and the use of the right tools to bring them to the surface and eradicate them from your way of thinking. Developing resilience and perseverance. In the face of continuing failure or adversity, most people will reach a point where they reevaluate the costs and benefits of their goal, and many will choose to abandon it. High goal commitment has been identified as one of the few personality factors that is a consistent predictor of success and is synonymous with perseverance. A realistic view of the probability of success and belief that the goal is still attainable will result in use of different strategies to regain lost performance. And finally, stronger commitment means that during adversity, alternative goals are less attractive. However, there is a fine line between perseverance and stubbornness, and recognizing that the goal is no longer attainable is also an important skill. Resilience is our ability to bounce back from tough situations or adversity. Developing resilience is a very important part of surviving and thriving in the modern world and can be very useful to combat depression and anxiety, which are becoming more and more widespread. There appear to be two main ways to develop resilience. The first is to develop a healthy outlook on life, as optimistic people are generally more able to adapt to situations. This involves developing cognitive behavioral patterns that promote resilience and self-efficacy, such as being optimistic and regularly using positive affirmations. Unfortunately, the best way to learn to cope with life's difficulties is to experience and overcome them. Avoiding the buildup of stress from suppressing past trauma and being able to effectively process and label difficult emotions is essential to avoid becoming emotionally overburdened and developing helplessness. It is often stated that being rock bottom is good a place to make a positive change, and rebuilding your life can be an empowering experience. The second way is to maintain your physical and mental health, as this greatly influences our ability to cope with adversity. Exercise, diet, and sleep are universally promoted as method of maintaining both physical and mental health, and there are many more specific ways to improve mental health. For example, maintaining routine and time structure maintains stability and control, whilst avoidance of self-medication will prevent making problems worse in the long run. Seeking help and support when needed. The final obstacle in the process of self-improvement is seeking help from others when it is required. Doing this can be quite difficult, as it is an admission of fallibility. People are essentially saying that they can't solve their problems on their own. Western culture and individualistic societies place a heavy emphasis on personal responsibility and self-determination, and for those that subscribe to these ideals at their most extreme, asking for help is tantamount to admitting defeat. It is for these kinds of people that changing this final problem behavior can provide the most profound results. Research indicates that those who hold an entity theory of intelligence, in which they see intelligence as a fixed rather than malleable attribute, are more prone to help aversion when it contradicts their self-identity. This is because they believe that asking for help is an admission that they are not intelligent or competent in the area which they are having difficulty, and this reflects poorly on their self-concept. These people can be encouraged by understanding that high ability is not about doing well all the time, but it is about taking difficulty as a challenge and applying effort to overcome it. It must be made clear to them that ability is not a stable attribute and that everyone is fallible. Another finding that is particularly applicable to help seeking is the paradox of self-esteem. It is well established by this point that high self-esteem is linked to a plethora of positive outcomes. However, those with high self-esteem are less likely to admit that they have a problem or shortcoming, which is preventing them from doing well, as it reflects poorly on their self-identity. In a similar vein to the aforementioned research on intelligent self-theories, it can be stressed to these individuals that their circumstantial self-esteem is not at risk if they understand that their actions in a certain area are not reflective of their global self-identity. Whether it be intelligence or ability, everyone has off days and areas in which they struggle. Chapter 10. Maintaining Motivation. Setting rewards and incentives. Using incentives to help reach goals in self-improvement and motivation, no matter how small, is a valuable tool. If you're trying to rid yourself of a habit that is detrimental to your health, such as the consumption of unhealthy snacks, try designing a contract with someone who may share your goal or engage in a diet incentive. A useful incentive would be to put the money that would usually be spent on these snacks into a tin with a goal to put money in the tin each day that the goal is upheld. On the other hand, the absence of the required amount of money for a particular day can be marked by an equal deduction from the tin. At the end of each month, the money can be counted, and this can be used to either reward progress or used as an indicator of achievement. Any money in the tin at the end of reaching the goal can be spent on a reward, perhaps a larger treat. This method creates both short and long-term rewards, therefore stepping up the motivation. To remain motivated during self-improvement is a key ingredient to success. The fact that you are your own motivator and will be the one to benefit from your changes is both a gift and a curse. Many people will find that being disciplined enough to engage in self-improvement is difficult due to a lack of motivation. The concept of reward from effort is often quite difficult when the results of change will often be felt internally and will only benefit the individual implementing the change. This can cause a lack of motivation and drive. It is therefore important to try to maintain motivation during self-improvement, and there are a few techniques that can aid this process. Step 10 of your self-improvement program should be to reinforce your motivation. Setting goals and having a strong self-improvement plan is part of this process, but there are additional measures. Setting rewards and incentives. An example of setting an incentive following a SMART goal is a student who says that they will allow themselves 1 hour of relaxation time to watch TV after having studied for 3 hours in preparation for an exam. This is an example of a specific goal, study for the exam. The incentive is based on performance, 3 hours of study. It is an attainable goal. They can easily study for 3 hours. It is realistic and is set within a time frame. The incentive is relaxation time, and given the time is summer, it might be that the student gives an added incentive that if they achieve a certain grade in the exam, they will then treat themselves to going out with friends to celebrate. This is still taking into account the first incentive and is setting another goal, each with its own incentive. Setting rewards and incentives can assist in keeping motivation levels high. This is because they remind an individual of the goal and the end reward in sight. An incentive is something that stimulates or acts as an encouragement as a result of an action. By setting an incentive, it will give an individual a reason to complete a task or goal. It provides an individual with an aim and something to work towards, particularly if the incentive is worthwhile to the individual. It may prevent procrastination as the thought of the incentive will drive an individual to complete the task. An individual may also tell others of the incentive that they have set to attain, thus creating a moral obligation to complete the said task. This is because they have made a commitment to achieve the set goal and have to attain the incentive. This method will be highly effective for those with an extrinsic motivational outlook. Rewards and incentives, however, are most effective when they are set following a similar goal and once the task has been completed. Avoiding procrastination. Procrastination is putting off or avoiding doing something that needs to be done. It is the habit of giving in to immediate gratification and usually involves ignoring unpleasant but important tasks in favor of more enjoyable tasks. This may lead to feelings of guilt, inadequacy, depression, and self-doubt among many people. Procrastination is a complex psychological behavior that affects everyone to some degree or another. With some, it can be a minor problem, and with others, it is a source of considerable stress and anxiety. Procrastination may come in various forms and disguises and often is hard to identify. At the heart of it is avoiding tasks with the mindset of, "I'll feel more like doing this tomorrow." People delay writing important emails, starting reports or articles, cleaning the clutter from their house, calling parents or friends, and even resolving deeper issues in their lives. Procrastination causes many problems, but it is especially frustrating because it needlessly wastes our time, saps our energy, and keeps us from taking action. We all procrastinate from time to time, but with increasing globalization and the pace at which we live our lives, it is now more crucial than ever to understand ways to overcome the habit. By creating a clear, structured plan and being prepared to modify it, coupled with the use of timeless time management techniques and avoiding the underlying emotional issues, procrastination can be beaten. Creating a schedule or routine. Carrying out these time management methods will be a direct change to the way you handle your time. At first, it may be difficult, but persistence and practice will yield a favorable outcome. Remember, it is important to review your time management on a regular basis, and it does not hurt to make adjustments along the way in order to achieve better results. By making a schedule/routine, you will be able to set yourself goals to work with time effectively, thus freeing time in the future, and by being accustomed to sticking to a schedule, you may find you have spare time in which you can do as you wish. This method is an alternative to working spontaneously throughout the day and will bring a great sense of achievement at the end of the day. The process of scheduling involves the following steps. Step 1. Start by identifying the times during the day when you are at your optimum. For example, when you are most energetic or when your concentration levels are at their highest. It is during this time when you should be looking to undertake your important and more demanding tasks. Step 2. Using a worksheet planner or a diary, enter in fixed activities, for example lectures, work or sleep, and make sure these do not clash with your most energetic times. Step 3. Schedule time to do the not-so-important tasks, for example, a trip to the post office or cleaning. These can be fitted in around the fixed activities, but still during the times when you feel your energy levels are acceptable. Step 4. Schedule time to do the more demanding tasks. Completing these at your optimum times will help increase productivity and help manage your time. Step 5. Review your plan and make sure it is realistic and flexible. A good schedule is not too pressuring and provides free time to rest and relax. Creating a schedule is an effective method for you to use time management. Scheduling involves making a plan to carry out a series of activities. In this instance, making a schedule involves making a plan to carry out your normal day-to-day activities in an effective and efficient manner, where time is set aside to complete given tasks. It does not involve making a plan with what you intend to do with your leisure time. This method has been proven to be a highly effective method for taking control of time, and it can be used in a variety of different situations, from organizing your day, planning your revision timetable, or arranging a schedule for a person with higher time demands, for example, a doctor. Prioritizing tasks and activities. Always begin with a simple task which will start the flow of your work. If a task appears too difficult, complex, or time-consuming, ask if it's worth doing it. If not, remove it. If it is, reschedule it for a later time. This is the simplest way to prioritize and helps to separate the important from the less important. Fundamentally, we need to order tasks by their true importance. The key to task prioritization is to use a method that works for you. A simple and effective method of prioritization is to first compile a list of tasks and then go through them, assigning each a letter from A to E, with A being the most important and E being the least important. Create a next action to ensure that each of your projects is clearly defined into a single, manageable task. An unclear task can lead to procrastination as it seems too difficult to approach. This will make it easier to schedule them. Set tasks which have deadlines or are high in importance first. Step back from time to time and think whether you are making the best possible use of your time. What tasks could you be doing that are higher in value or higher priority? The value of time changes from task to task, and by prioritizing, you can make sure that you are using your time effectively and not by doing a less important task just to avoid a more important one. By following these simple steps, you can manage your time better by making sure the most important tasks are done first, and that time is not wasted on less important tasks. This will reduce the unnecessary stress often caused by last-minute rushes to meet deadlines, and you will have a greater feeling of control over your work and your life. Celebrating small achievements. Those of us actively seeking to improve themselves in various aspects would know how much time and effort one needs to invest in order to achieve what they want. The road to improvement is often long and laborious, overflowing with ups and downs. When we succeed, it's easy to forget. We may spend the time instead focusing on what we haven't been able to accomplish or the effort it took to make that small amount of progress. This mentality, if unchecked, is a fast-track route to burning out or running out of motivation. This is why it's crucial to give oneself credit where it's due, and a great way to do this is to celebrate small achievements. Celebrating achievements is an acknowledgement of the time and effort invested to make our current position a reality. Program your mind to see achievement in every tiny step you take to improve. Where previously you may have celebrated with a meal out or watching a movie, now allow yourself to acknowledge what you have done with a night out doing what you enjoy most. After exams, go out with friends and celebrate a job well done. This method ties in closely with setting incentives, as you can incorporate them as a reward for achieving a certain goal. Never forget that prices and presents are short-term, and while achieving your overall goal is the real reward, celebrating these small steps can be more encouraging and motivational in the long run. Surrounding oneself with positive influences. Positive influences are extremely important when aiming to make positive changes in oneself. Being around others who have similar goals and interests will encourage and motivate an individual to continue with their improvements. It is not easy to give up old habits or take on new activities by oneself. Meeting with others who have the same interests can form a support group and help share both resources and information. For example, if someone was trying to take up running as a new form of exercise, joining a running club would expose them to individuals who are physically fit and take care of their bodies. This could be a big difference compared to their usual social group who may sit around and play video games. At first, they might find it hard to relate to the runners, but simply being around a different type of role model will help to start making changes. On the other hand, it is just as important to stay away from negative influences. If the runner's friends constantly mock and tease his newfound interest in running, this could cause him to become discouraged and possibly quit. In this case, it might be best to find some new friends who will support and encourage his new hobby. Positive influences do not have to be people. They can be a place, thing, or even an animal. The point is that being in the presence of something that gives off positive energy will pass that energy on to you.
If you found this content enriching and valuable, we would be deeply grateful if you could express your appreciation through liking and subscribing. Your support is incredibly meaningful and enables us to continue creating content that resonates with you. For those who think this is a great gift for yourself or for your loved ones, you can find the link in the description.